Wednesday. I am so excited that y'all was able to join us on this amazing Wednesday. Join us on our new time. Make sure y'all set y'all alarm because y'all need to be in the place. We're going to be answering questions, and we don't even know what y'all want to talk about unless you would attend and ask us questions and tell us what do you want to know. Hemp is hope. Okay? And we're going to stress that to y'all for the next several months. Okay? We're going to wear y'all out with this hemp is hope because we want y'all to understand what is going on. But today, guys, we have the amazing April. Baby, we brought reinforcement. I got April and Will on here tonight. Okay? So if y'all have questions as we get to talking, I'm going to stop and let y'all ask y'all questions. But right now, we're going to start with Miss April. And so, April, what do you know about the body? That, like the CBD in the body and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I just got into CBD in the last year or so because I had a lot of medical issues come up. I had a migraine that happened in May and it did not go away for 6 months every single day.
Wow.
So every day, no matter what, I would have migraine after migraine after migraine. I was hospitalized. I went to every doctor you can think of. I was in and out of the ER. I went to specialists. I went to ophthalmologists. I went to oral surgeons. I had Botox done for these migraines. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on traditional medicine to try to get my migraines to go away. I was prescribed every single thing you could think of. If anything, they would cause me more problems and not cure the issue. I was told to stop eating healthy foods. There's certain fruits and vegetables on these lists that were supposed to be migraine triggers. I did everything you could think of. Then I went down a more natural path. I found a naturopath. I got a different chiropractor, and they started suggesting CBD. And I was already really interested in CBD for other reasons like depression and anxiety. Well, when that came up, I started really researching it, and I found out that our bodies have receptors to CBD, and they're located all over the body. And in simpler terms, they're almost like location, like landing places in the body, and they're located in our tissues, and our brain, and our lymph nodes, and our organs, and everywhere. And when we get CBD, they go to our bodies have something called CB1 and CB2, and when we have CBD, they connect. It literally, it's like connecting into our organs, tissues, and brain.
Wow.
And that is why when you have CBD, your depression, your anxiety, and your ADHD minimize tremendously because a lot of our landing locations are in the brain. Then it takes you to the next part of it with inflammation. CBD targets inflammation like no other.
Yeah.
Crazy. So that's where it started helping me for my migraines. I started getting into all the other stuff with the CB1 and CB2 and the landing locations in the brain and the organs later, but I started it for the migraines and the inflammation. And it was just a life-changing experience for me.
So, wow. April, that is amazing. You said a lot, and you've educated yourself a lot just because it helped you. Yes. And I am so glad that you came to the show and that you're able to tell people that, because guys who are listening, who has migraines? Who has migraines daily? I know so many people who suffer with migraines daily. If I was to offer them CBD, they'd be like, "Oh, that's like a cuss word. CBD. Oh, I can't use the drugs. I can't do the drugs."
I know. It's so crazy. And there's so much more to CBD outside. We have broad spectrum, there's full spectrum, a whole different topic, but it's not drugs. You don't even feel, you actually don't know you're taking something until you're just feeling great. And you're like, what's different? What did I do? Why am I feeling so great?
Right.
And then you're like, wait.
And so I want to make sure that everybody heard what she said. You was having migraines for how long?
6 months every single day. I did not skip a day. I was hospitalized. So what ended up being the scenario was I have scoliosis. I always have. But I had a procedure done in March. And when I did that, I had to rest. I had to rest a lot. And I had to weaken my muscles. And when it did that, a lot of the damage that my scoliosis caused and a lot of accidents over time, just life, it moved up into my neck. And it created my neck to have a 0 degree curve when you're supposed to have a 43-degree curve. And when it did that, anything that I would eat that causes inflammation, sugar, alcohol, I mean, so many things cause inflammation, but whatever I would eat that would trigger inflammation, my bone that was already straight would hit my triggers in my body because I was already having issues. So anytime I was inflamed, which apparently was all the time, that bone would sit on the trigger point in my brain or on the muscle into my brain.
Wow.
So that is why the CBD oil helped, because it lowered the inflammation, releasing that pressure off my head.
Wow.
I also had to do a diet change and all the other things. I mean, you can't just put a Band-Aid on stuff. You have to do it all around. But that I still take it every day. And it now helps me my adult ADHD, my anxiety, and my depression on top of inflammation and
Wow.
migraines.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow. I
it's been
love
a
that.
long
Thank you
haul.
so much for sharing.
Thanks for
Like, I
having
know
me
so
on.
many people who suffer with headaches, and so I'm definitely going to share this podcast part because they need to hear real people who suffer with migraines so they can really understand. Like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing.
Yes. Thank you for
Um,
having me. I'd like to share my story anytime.
Will, what made you decide to, like, what was the first time that you consumed CBD?
Well, the very first time was probably a little less than 2 years ago. I had been taking some, like, I guess in layman's terms, multivitamins from a company, and then they ended up coming out with some CBD oil. I tried it, but the main thing that pushed me to buy it, because it was expensive, for what I thought,
Right.
when I first looked at a little
It's a little
bottle,
video bottle.
and I was like, whoa. So anyway, my son, that's 13, has autism on the Asperger's syndrome, or spectrum. And so I had heard just, the talk,
Yeah.
da 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 da. CBD helps with seizures. CBD helps with, autistic situations. Now, he had one seizure years ago, and he was basically on seizure watch until he was like 6 years old.
Oh,
And they told us, make sure he doesn't jump into cold water. Don't change the temperature of the water too hot when he does different things. But anyway, he was the main push to get me to buy it. So once I bought it, um, I used it on him and myself, and I noticed a change in him the very first day. I've got video.
Wow. The
Yes,
yeah.
first
very,
day?
very first
It's
day.
crazy.
Yeah, definitely the very first day. And he was literally like my biggest, like, life issue.
Yeah.
I told one of my best friends, and that I was in first grade with, I said, you know what? I've got to create a way to come up with another $50,000 a year to get him a caregiver, because he had so many issues, outbursts, and just emotional breakdowns. Oh my goodness, the sadness on his face sometimes.
Yeah.
Then he would also have the, just almost like a semi rage, uncontrollable. But he is doing much better now. He's
Yeah.
13,
That's
and
amazing.
he's doing much better. And I recently started on the gummies myself, and just overall, I feel like my personal results have been helped with depression or lower levels of happiness, anxiety, definitely anxiety,
Yes.
and attention deficit. definitely,
Definitely.
definitely.
Okay. Wow. So, I didn't ask you that question, so I'm going to go back and ask it in a second, Miss April. He said the first day that he took it, he saw the difference in his son. That is so, so amazing. I've heard a few people who say that, who said
Yes.
it, and oh my God, I just love it. For those who just tuned in, for those who don't know why hemp is hope even exists, I started this because hemp really is hope. He just told you about his son. It's nobody wants their child to not be able to focus, to have outrage, to be so depressed. Like he said, on his face, he could see it. You know, nobody wants that. And so to give his child something and instantly he can see the difference, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
He'll take pictures and actually smile now.
Oh wow.
Rare. It's not typical like everybody else who jumps in a picture, and 99% of people who take pictures will go and smile, but he will actually take a picture with us from time to time and actually smile. Whereas before he was like some old grumpy man.
Wow. Yes. That is so amazing. April, I know you had said for 6 whole months you had migraines. I am a migrainer, okay? So I know what that feels like. So for people who've had migraines, like I've had peas on my head. Like, go to the freezer. Anybody who know me, I hate to be cold. A migraine, I take the peas.
Right.
I take the peas.
Right. The migraine caps.
Yes. And so my question to you is, when did you notice your first results?
Day one. Yeah. It's so funny because a lot of the people I know who had taken CBD for like mental health had said, don't get discouraged. It takes a week or two and then you just miraculously feel better. So I wasn't anticipating I'm feeling better on day one, but day one I noticed it. And that's like across the board with like my mental state, clarity, because I have really, really bad ADHD, and I did not notice it as much as I do in my adult years. So I noticed that almost instantly. I was like, what? I could concentrate. I could focus. I don't have a headache. This is great.
Wow.
And that's when
that was like my part 2 question. So I don't know if you already answered this. I know you take it for headaches.
Yes.
But like, what other things was your what other things was the CBD for? If you want to go into more detail.
Yeah, so it started with the migraines, but I suffer from depression. It's my whole family has depression, and I suffer from anxiety and ADHD, and they kind of all go hand in hand. Most of the time, if you know someone who's got attention deficit and hyperactive disorder, they usually have anxiety and they usually have depression as well. So as I become,
they're like cousins,
right?
That makes sense.
Yes, and the older I get, the more I'm getting into this, the more I'm getting educated on it, and the more I'm understanding me. I usually just ran away from my demons, whatever I could to not think about them. I'm a workaholic. I usually just worked through it, so I didn't have to think or figure out what was going on or what my problem was. So when I started taking the CBD. Yeah, when I started taking the CBD and I like noticed all these like miraculous changes with me, I was like, wait, I feel good. Like I feel really good. And that's when I just started digging and reading and podcasts and just all of the things. And everything you find goes back to how much CBD helps with depression, anxiety, and ADHD. And it's because we have receptors in our brains for the CB1 and CB2. So it's kind of crazy how our bodies were almost like made to find it.
Right. So amazing.
It's a system.
It's a system and it's connected, and it's crazy how connected it really is. And I've heard that before, but until I did my own research, it didn't click. Until it worked for me, and now I'm sharing it. Anytime someone wants to talk about it, I'm game. You can't get me to stop.
Well, April, that's that system they don't want us to know about, and not to sound like a conspiracy theory.
Oh no, you're talking to the right person.
But Rachel, can I say my little thing about my thought process thing to make people think? April, I will share with people. I'll ask them this question. Every one of us pretty much went to school, elementary school. They taught us about our respiratory system.
Yes.
as my man would say, breathing in that good ass product.
Right.
But they taught us about the respiratory system and the lungs and oxygen and stuff like that. They taught us, if we get cut, we bleed. So they taught us about the circulatory system. They taught us about our brain. They taught us about our skin system. But all this stuff is obvious, or either you can just see it. But what they did not teach us about was the endocannabinoid system.
The endocannabinoid. I was gonna say, I didn't say the big word because people don't know what it means usually.
They didn't teach, but people have got to that's why I'm so happy I met Rachel out in Vegas, just by all the stars lining up. She's in Texas. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it's like, you know what? This is bigger than us, because we couldn't have planned this. It's just nothing we could have done to say, hey, you know what? One day I'm going to do a podcast with a guy named Will Smith in Myrtle Beach. I want to do a podcast on CBD and hemp with a young lady in Texas. It just lined up. So I really feel that it's, godly, spiritual, however people want to make it, but beyond our powers as far as getting this word out, and we must do it.
We have to.
I asked my wife to get me a bottle of CBD for Father's Day. I'm that guy. Like, what do you want for Father's Day? I want a bottle of CBD oil. That's what I literally physically got for Father's Day.
I got my husband that for Christmas.
It helps me so much.
Drinking
coffee. I have a moving company, so the inflammation, my elbows. One of my doctors specialists today, they called me and said they're getting me, some elbow sleeves, because they're like, your elbows are like tore up. But you know what? I still work, but I don't tell them my secret. I just tell them, oh yeah, go ahead and get me those sleeves made. They want to put me on pills and stuff like that, but I'm like,
No.
I got some drops and some gummies.
Yes. Yeah, the endocannabinoid system is one of our largest neurotransmitting systems in our body as well. And for them not to talk about it, I mean, it's not like it's a small system in our makeup. And I always like to say, for, optimism, maybe they just weren't educated enough. But it goes to show that there's not much money for them to have if we're feeling better.
Right. It raises some red flags, Ben, that the endocannabinoid system affects your entire body.
Yes.
And, for some reason, it just happened to be missed.
In the
whole educational system.
I know. It's crazy. And it's nowhere to be found, but when you dig, you can find it. So it's there, but like, you do not hear about it anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's the reason why I want to educate.
Yes.
Because when you're talking about it, people like, well, are they making it up? Right? Where did they get it from? And so I like to find videos. And so anybody who's following me, if you go to my Unmasking the Blueprint, actually, is it on Unmasking? It's either Unmasking the Blueprint or my name, Rachel Pence, on YouTube. I have a video that actually explains like how it works.
Okay.
Because people like, well, I've never heard of it. Like, I mean, it's a lot of things you probably never heard of.
Right.
But we didn't just make it up. Like, it's real.
It's real. Oh, it's real.
You kind of talked about my next question, Will. So my next question was, what is your personal experience with CBD and how and why was you using it? But I think I kind of asked that question twice. I think I just worded it the same way. So let me see how I wrote it. Give me a second. So I think one was for your son and one was for you.
Right.
And so we talked about your son, and then you started talking about your elbows. So if you want to go a little bit more in depth, you can. If not, we can pass the next question to April. What you want to do?
Okay, which I kind of hit on it earlier, because April mentioned like the anxiety and depression, and she is actually helping me process and understand myself better and what was going on with me, because I was depressed and really didn't know it until I kind of look back, hindsight 2020, like, wow, I was in depression. Yeah. So I would say that it's helped me with depression, helped me to feel better, helped me to have a better outlook on life. Definitely is helping me with inflammation, throughout my body.
Yeah.
So and just my overall sense of well-being, feeling more confident, because I know, as I get educated, I know that, wow, this stuff is going to support something in my whole body, just making everything better. So a lot of personal
It kind of
experience,
works.
and it's getting better as the days go. And I'm about to be 50 this month, 28th of January. So
Wow.
Oh, happy
I'm a
birthday.
I'm a poster guy for CBD.
Me too.
I
Yeah,
love it. I
me
love
too.
it. And so I love that. And I don't know if anybody caught what he was saying. His profession, he owns a moving company. A moving company.
Right.
And so he has bad parts because they ache and they have pain and he has inflammation. And so
Right.
he has incorporated the CBD drops and the CBD gummies. And that's how he's able to do his job.
Yeah.
And so, guys, I'm trying to tell y'all, but we're not trying to we're trying to really educate y'all and let y'all understand. Google, look up, educate yourself. April just told you she went in for the gusto. Guys, I started this show because I haven't even did a podcast yet on all the when I give y'all a tea from the beginning to the end on why I started this podcast, we're gonna have some snot and tissue. All the mess and drama that I went through. And my whole testimony. Okay. And so the reason I started this podcast is because of for people like April, well, not like people who was like April, who's sitting at home right now with these headaches, for people who looking at their babies with ADHD, with
Asperger's.
Asperger's, thank you,
Autism.
with Asperger's, y'all looking at y'all babies, looking at these babies with seizures, looking at these kids with ADHD. I owned a daycare for 13 years where kids kept getting reds and missing out on field trips and getting mistreated when we could have gave them some gummies and they could have behaved. I'm just saying, we got to get educated and we have to get smart. And if nobody gonna stand up for our children, if nobody gonna stand up for our children, you gotta stand up for your child.
Right. Don't just
You
let
gotta
Yeah.
stand up for your child, and
Yeah.
you gotta stand up for yourself. And you gotta find out if CBD is a drug or not. You look it up and you figure it out. There are babies right now who's taking CBDs.
Yeah.
CBDs with an S
It's
on
safe for children.
it.
Yeah.
It is. And taking hemp oils.
And babies.
And babies. And this is facts. I'm not telling you anything that's not facts. So if you have a child that's misbehaving, do your due diligence and find out. If you have a child that's not sleeping, let me calm down, Pins. I'm sorry, guys. I get emotional.
Now you're
If you have a
passionate. I love
child
it.
that's not sleeping, do your due diligence. I'm just saying, what's the last question? Let's talk about the information. Miss April, you talked about the information. You talked about how it was giving you headaches and throughout your body. Would you like to go a little bit more into detail with that? We would love to hear it.
I mean, I can. So I didn't realize I had a lot of inflammation in my body because I'm normally a pretty healthy person. I choose to eat healthy. I eat very fresh. But there's a lot of things, even in our healthy food, that we don't realize, like certain oils, sunflower oil and grapeseed oil, and the gums that are in our foods, and the sucrose that's in our food, and just a lot of sugars, for one. I mean, alcohol, these things really inflame the body and we don't necessarily know it. So you could be eating all organic for the most part and think you're doing the right thing and not realize that there's certain oils and gums in your food still that trigger inflammation. And I wasn't a heavy drinker, but I liked my fair share of a glass of wine here and there, which is huge in sugar. And sugar is one of the main things for inflammation. So because our receptors.
What about red wine?
Red wine's actually really good for your heart. So, or, you know, in
Is it high in sugar?
moderation. A lot of wine is because it comes from grapes, but they do actually carry wine that is sugar-free nowadays. That's a whole nother podcast.
My bad. I just had to. I just needed to know. You know,
but,
it's good for your heart. You know, I got heart problems, so I just need to know.
No, I haven't had a sip of alcohol since last May, other than like a celebratory glass of champagne at a wedding or something, because my body, like now that I haven't drinking anything, I can't. I don't feel good. Immediately I get a headache. And even like my CBD helps it, but it can't like be the cure all if I'm going to continue to do the things that are causing the problems. Like, so yeah, so because we have these receptors in our body, a lot of them are in our tissues, and the tissues are on the muscles. And when you're inflamed, it relaxes that, and it gives like less pressure on your muscles. So that is another reason why your pain goes down so much, because you think you're just in pain. You don't really understand it, but it's your inflammation in your body that causes the pain to then, you know, pain aches everywhere. But really, if you target the inflammation, your pain goes away.
Right.
So that's what happened to me. I didn't even know why I was taking the CBD. I was just desperate. And then once I took it and it worked, I'm like, how is this possible? Nothing's worked. So then I started digging and digging and digging. And I realized that when my body gets inflamed, it hits that trigger point in the back of my head. And that's why the CBD that takes this inflammation down releases that trigger off my head. Wow. So it was just crazy, because our physique, everything is made with the endocannabinoid system. It's one of the biggest neurotransmitters in our body. So it's just crazy. It's crazy how it's all connected.
Wow. That was good. That was good. Guys, I don't know if y'all realize it. If y'all was to just Google inflammation is like the cause of eye pain, neck pain, back pain, toe pain, stomach pain, head pain, tooth pain, ear pain. Like every pain, like I'm not a doctor, so I can't say every single pain, but the majority of pains are triggered from some form of inflammation in your body.
Right. You're just told, like, you have chronic pain, live with it. That's what I was told, because I have scoliosis. They literally told me, you're just going to be in pain. Like, you're not going to feel better. So, like, pretty much stop coming. Because I'm like, why does everything hurt? Why does this hurt? And this hurt? And this isn't normal. They're like, you have scoliosis. Sorry, you're just going to have to deal with that. Another thing CBD is really good for is arthritis.
Yep, I've heard that too.
So I know that's a big thing.
Right. Which arthritis, that's part of the meaning of arthritis is inflammation. So it lines right up with it, you know.
But not everyone thinks about it. So like you have to sometimes not like dumb it down. I don't want to say that because I'm not saying anyone's dumb, but you kind of have to be in simpler forms, because you can hear this, but still not connect the two.
I have fibromyalgia.
It's really good for fibromyalgia.
It's so good for fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
Fibromyalgia is probably like your scoliosis, like everything hurts.
Yeah.
And your doctor looking at you like, can I tell you something? Because I love you.
Right.
You just got fibromyalgia. Can you go home?
Literally.
Please? Really?
It's almost like they don't know what you have, so they just have to tell you have fibromyalgia. That's like kind of where it's at.
I have
fibromyalgia.
So many drugs in my drawer, like a plethora of them. And now I can honestly say I don't have to take them. Yeah. And it's just a really great feeling. And that's why I'm screaming to the world, like, let me help you.
Same here.
All those other drugs are going to affect your kidneys and your other organs.
Liver.
Let me help.
Going to help this to hurt this.
Yes.
I'm a veteran, and they gave me some cream for my foot. And I read it first, and it was like, could cause serious liver problems. And I'm like, okay, if I already have minor liver problems, then why would I take something that could possibly cause some more liver problems? So I never took it. So that just made me more thankful for the CBD, because like when I wake up in the morning, especially when I do the big moves, you know, because sometimes we get called out, oh, can you move a couch and a desk? All right, big deal. But when I get called out for the big moves, and it's like an 8 or 10 hour day, and I don't get home to 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and then I drop that stuff under my tongue, and the next day I wake up and I'm loose and I'm more fluid. That is one of the main reasons I got it for Father's Day, because I was like, wow, in the summertime we're doing more moves than like right now. It's like kind of like every other day or every other day, and they're not that big. But in the summertime, you get the big moves, and your body needs a lot more to keep going and to get rid of that inflammation.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to do a little research more for fibromyalgia because I didn't really dig into it too much. My girlfriend does have it, but you guys are, it's almost like you're misfiring. You're oh my gosh.
The body goes out of balance or something.
What I don't like
is
that they tell you like, oh, there's no symptoms, like you can't see them. And that this is not the type of show, so I'm not gonna make it long, but it's really a lie. Because I can show you when I'm having a flare up, I can show you my hands. My hands are swollen when I'm having a flare up. Like I feel like there's needles in my hands. They feel like very prickly. And somebody told me, so they was like, well, do you have diabetes? I don't. Right. You know, my feet hurt at the bottom. But if you look at my feet, if I took a picture of my feet when my feet hurt, and I took a picture of my feet when my feet don't hurt, and my feet don't look the same. So just because to you on a regular day, my feet looks fine. Right. So when I went to my doctor, I told her, I said, this is my hands on a regular day. And she said, oh, I do see the difference. So what happens is when we go to the doctor, because we just look normal.
It's all based on symptoms.
Yeah. And so we go in, you're like, oh, well, you look great. And I'm like, I don't feel great. And you're like, oh, well, your hands and you're this and you're that. And I'm like, I'm hurting. Right. So I just started doing little things on my own and taking pictures. And so I take a picture of the back of my legs and stuff. And you can see they're swollen. I only weigh 127. I'm 130 today. Right. I'm swollen in a lot of places. Okay. And so, so definitely, April, we can definitely discuss some things off air because you'll be amazed at things that I found out. But anyway, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's watching, but hey, but yes. So we're going to end it with Will, but if anybody have a question, you can ask it. And so April, do you have anything to say before I ask Will the last question?
No, you're okay.
Anything you feel like you missed that you wanted to add?
I don't think so, no. Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so April might be back. She don't even know yet. Okay, we're gonna.
I actually come back, April.
Yeah, I should actually, because I'm like, I have a whole nother topic I forgot about.
Did you really? Okay, April be back next Wednesday, guys. Thank you and check. Okay, good job, guys. Y'all think I'm joking? We're gonna be in this place every Wednesday at 8. We're gonna be dropping these nuggets. We are going to change lives. We are going to save some people.
Doing God's work.
We are going to save some people. We don't even have to know who life we save.
Right.
I already know we're going to save people. I am so obedient. April, I'm so obedient. Will already know I'm so obedient. Do you know that I don't like to do a lot of things in the evening because this has been my husband's time.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm going to take these Wednesdays and I'm going to do this show on Wednesdays and I'm going to educate these people. We're going to get some people educated. Okay. And we're going to change some lives. Okay. We're going to save somebody. We're going to stop somebody from popping pills. We're going to stop somebody. We're going to save some lives. That's all I'm finna say. My last thing is Mr. Will. Okay, hold up. I had a good question. Oh, I didn't lock myself out my phone for 28 seconds. Dang it. I had a good, so I think my question, dang it. So while I'm waiting to get back in my phone. All right, guys. So I'm going to do reverse. So, because I do have a good question I want to ask him, but hell, I forgot. So, all right. So, guys, on the next show, when we come on, my husband, anybody who needs some music or some intro music, y'all know my husband, Ernest Pence, look him up, the third. So we will have intro music next week. So if y'all I know Will know my intro music for Unmasking. April, you got to watch my show. Okay. So we have intro music for Unmasking. And so my husband just did me some intro music for Hope, Hemp is Hope. He should be done with it by next Wednesday. So we'll have us some intro music and some outro music. We're gonna dance out in April. I don't have no rhythm, so if you got something, that's fine. Just add your rhythm.
I don't. It's cool.
And if you don't have none, then we all be off. Don't worry about it. And so, super excited about that. So if you need some music, reach out to my husband. Boop, I'm back in my phone. Okay. And so we'll meet y'all back here on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to be on the show, if you have any knowledge, you don't have to be a doctor. I don't want you coming here saying no foolish stuff. But I mean, if you really take hemp oils, if you really take CBD, and you really have a testimony, I really want you on the show. You know, I really want you on the show because what you have to say is super important. Because what you have to say, nobody can tell your story like you. Nobody can tell your story like you, baby. You are important. So if you got something to say, I want you on the show so you can say what you have to say. All right, Mr. Will, you ready? What is something important you want the world? See, I told you I had a good question for you, baby. What is something important you want to tell the world about him?
I would like to world to know that there are many uses for hemp. There are people building homes with hemp in certain areas because, and as Rachel would say, hey, look some of this stuff up yourself. You know, everybody goes to Google for everything else. Google hemp bricks for homes.
Yeah.
And you will be amazed at what you will find. Go on YouTube and look up hemp bricks for homes. And you'll see how like the hemp bricks insulates the home so well. They're not even using fiberglass as insulation in some of the homes. They're just using the hemp bricks. You know, that some companies are making hemp bottles. So instead of, you know, people carrying around these plastic bottles all day and then throwing them away, the hemp bottles are very, very good and they are biodegradable. So you can help the earth as we should be doing, you know, including. So that's a couple major things I would like for the world to know.
You know what? You just motivated me. You know what I'm about to do? I'm going to make me a note. The next time we come on this show, I'm going to have a fact about him that nobody on the show going to know. That was good. I feel like I got something new I want to add to my sleeve.
Love it. I love it.
I like that.
I love it.
So before we go on, I know he's supposed to say the last thing, but heck, I got excited now. So y'all know that they used to make paper back in the Gap, and then the paper people. Now, y'all do not quote me on this, and because I'm making some of this up. It is true, but I don't remember how I'm going to say it.
Right.
But something like this, you know how they say you hit a story, you hit a story, you hit a story, and you hit a story. So I'm gonna research it, and the next show I'm gonna have the facts. But they used to make paper. This is a true story out of hemp, and somebody got mad. The paper people got mad, and something happened, and they made them stop making paper out of hemp.
Well, that's kind of like electric cars.
Somebody find the information out and send it to me. But something like that happened.
I'll research it. Look,
no, for real, like something like that happened. So, guys, y'all have an amazing night, guys. If y'all have any questions, Will Smith, you can inbox him. April, can I inbox you, April?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I answer that before the show? Y'all can inbox April with the questions. You can always inbox me with questions. You can go underneath this podcast and you can ask the questions here as well. And if you tag one of our names, then one of us is going to answer you. Okay? If you want to be on the show, same thing. Any questions for the next show, send it to us. We're going to take care of you. We got you. Thank y'all for listening in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much, April, for being on the show tonight. Thank you for all your wisdom and y'all knowledge and understanding, Will and April. I definitely appreciate y'all. Y'all got a pass tonight to sign out because I don't have no music.
Thanks for having me.
Who's born in Bye, guys. I will
Have
see
a good
y'all
one.
next Wednesday, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in.
All right.